Hi stamping friends, Melissa Kerman here with Melissa's Crafting Treehouse. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I sell all the products that I share in my videos. Today I have a fun project for you featuring the Dear Doily Stamp Set, and this project is a free card kit program project for the month of March and April, and it was also one of my Stamp Club projects. So what I'm starting here with is the focal piece. I'm using my black StazOn ink, and I'm just going to stamp a background using several of the images in that set. I'm using the large doily, the small doily, the plant sprig, if you will, and then that last little tiny medallion. Now I just tested my StazOn black ink to see if it was juicy enough, and found that I didn't get a good resolution on my image, so I'm just quickly re-inking it there. Now when I'm using StazOn, a lot of times I like to put the stamp down on the paper and put the ink over the top, just like you see me doing there, because the StazOn ink pad is a little bit smaller than the regular classic Stampin' Up! Ink pads. Now I've stamped my 3 doilies, and I want to make sure that they're not one lined up on top of each other so that it looks sort of organic. So you can see I did one in the upper right, one in the middle on the left, and then one in the middle on the bottom. And I'm now taking my foliage image, stamping that first, second, and third, and fourth inking in multiple places. Now I'm coming in with that little tiny medallion. I don't have a lot of room for it, but just mixes things up a little bit. And now I've taken that medium-sized doily and I've stamped it off, and then stamped it multiple times in the background just to create some texture and interest in the background. Now I'm going to start with my sponging. I'm using crushed curry ink, and I wanted my doily to look sort of yellow. And I've started with inking the center, and you can see I'm squishing up that sponge to concentrate the ink more intensely towards the center, and then fanning it out towards the outside edges of the doily so it's lighter on the outside edges. So it's probably hard to tell there, but I was pinching the sponge and pressing really hard when I did the centers of the doilies, and then I was pressing less hard, just kind of a light touch when I did the outside of the doilies, and that's intentionally so I got the lighter shade of yellow around the outside of the doily. So now I'm coming in with my Granny Apple Green ink and sponging around the foliage, and I'm trying to get a little bit of light area sort of towards the center, so there's some lights and darks in my background. Next I'm going to use my Mossy Meadow ink and the sponge, and again in this case I'm squishing up the sponge so it's kind of small, and just doing a little bit of that dark Mossy Meadow along the edges. You see I'm squishing it up. And that just creates more contrast, more highs and lows in the colors by adding some darkness to the edges. And just touching up with a little bit of that Granny Apple Green towards the center, and adding a little tiny bit of yellow in there. So the next thing I'm going to do is do the direct paper technique on my Mossy Meadow piece. Now I'm showing you my ink pad there because it's kind of gotten a little roughed up at the edge. So if you're going to do the direct to paper technique, just be aware that when you catch it on the edge of the paper, it can sort of fray the edge of the foam of your ink pad. Now I've had a lot of people using this ink pad in this way because my clubs come to my house, and I have about 25 or more people who make all of these projects. So this may not happen to you, but it's just something to be aware of. So you can see now I have that nice texture on the paper. Just kind of makes it look a little bit sort of more antique-y and just different from the solid color that you saw me show on the back. Now I'm starting with the final assembly of my card, folding my card base in half, and then I'm going to burnish it to get a nice crisp crease with my bone folder. And now I've taken all my pieces, put adhesive on the back sides of them, and put them onto these plasticized sheets that I get from other adhesives like the foam strips, just so that when I start with my assembly it's super fast. So attaching my focal piece, of course, to its backing, and now I'm justifying it slightly to the right, so I'll leave room on the left to wrap my baker's twine. And of course I got to have an inside piece, especially with a black card body. Now I'm going to take my black baker's twine and wrap it around the spine of the card 3 times, and I like to wrap it such that it overlaps in maybe 2 different places. And then I'm going to tie it in a knot, of course, tie a little knot at the top, leave some real small little tails, and then I'll adjust the positioning of the baker's twine to sort of space each of the pieces out. And you can see I'm doing that right now. Now I'm bowing the card to give myself a little bit more room to move those around. Trimming off the edges, the ends of the baker's twine. And now I wanted the little tie to be slightly higher, so as you can see I bowed the card again so that I was able to move the baker's twine as one unit. So for my final touch, I'm going to add a little bit of Wink of Stella to a few places on this card, and as I zoomed in I realized that my doily in the upper right didn't quite get the best resolution in the center. I'm kind of missing some of the spokes of my doily. So I grabbed my black marker, my Stampin' Write marker, and I actually used the journaling pen because it had a thinner tip. And I'm just touching it up a little bit so that those lines look continuous and look better to me. And now I'm going to come in with my Wink of Stella, and I'm going to put some in the center of each of the doilies. This is the clear Wink of Stella. And then I'm going to also add some Wink of Stella to the darkest foliage images, as you can see I'm doing there. As a reminder, this is one of my 3 free card kit program projects that you can get free with qualifying orders in my online store. To learn more about my free card kit program, you'll find a link in the video description below. I hope you've enjoyed my project today and will come back and visit me sometime soon. Plus, make sure to check out the video description below for lots of useful links, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for spending some time with me today, and happy crafting!